if you're selling managed services, your service offering has to be three things. And just like a three-legged stool, all three have to be correct. They have to be there. Otherwise, the stool will topple over. My name is Robin Robbins. In case you are not familiar with me, I am the founder, CEO of Technology Marketing Toolkit, TMT now for short. We've gone through that whole rebranding. And I've got with me Will Nobles, who is our chief head client coach. I mean, whatever, the highest order, the king of client coaching around here.
King of client coaches.
He is the king of all client coaches and coaching and mastermind, everything here. He is also CEO of Vector Choice and been a long-term member around here. I don't know if I ever told you this, Will, when we ranked like our members of who spent the most money with us, you're like in the top 10. You know, you may have been even number one. I'm not sure about that. So
well, we need to talk about that then.
Yeah, I know, right? So, but now like I'm paying him to do client coaching because he's done such a great job, honestly, with Vector Choice. And he is well over 10 million in revenue. The company is acquiring other MSPs. It's growing like crazy, very profitable. And he works for me. Go figure that out. I don't know why he does it, but he does.
It's for the fun, Robin.
What's that?
It's for the fun.
Just for the fun of it. This is a fun thing. Sure. Yeah, it's just fun. That's all we have around here. No problems. Just it's a bucket of fun. Anyway, so he does that now, which is really cool because he's teaching our members how to implement marketing, how to be real entrepreneurs to the point where you can have a very successful, profitable, growing MSP and not have to work full time in it. So he is proof positive. So it's so we've got Will here, you've got me, and we wanted to do a session on packaging and pricing. And this is always a hot topic. You know, I was just doing another webinar earlier today, and anytime you mention anything about packaging and pricing, everybody has just a ton of questions like, you know, what I'm in Canada, should it be the same? And what is service gross margin? How do you calculate it? And how do you calculate license fees? And how do you bundle this all together? And I mean, just like, this is always a huge topic. And so what we found, and I should say really Will, because Will, I get a lot of the marketing questions. Will gets a lot of the operational packaging pricing. Everybody wants to see Will's package. It's like a joke around here. It's like, or, you know, everyone wants to see, is he come up with a new package? So he has the new package. And it's very exciting. I haven't seen it yet, but I've been told by many people that it's just crazy. I mean, because he's running this very successful MSP and he knows how to do this. And so, you know, he tends to get that. I tend to get more of the questions about how do you position it? How do you sell it? How do you market it? Those kinds of things. So we're going to be working together today. I think the first thing we want to start out with, if you're selling managed services, your service offering has to be three things. And just like a three-legged stool, all three have to be correct. They have to be there. Otherwise, the stool will topple over. So your service offering has to be profitable. I mean, it goes without saying, because if you are selling an unprofitable managed services offering, you are very quickly going to implode and you're never going to be able to grow. And the reason you won't grow is because you won't have the funds to hire more engineers, to hire management level, to invest in training, to invest in marketing and new client acquisition. So, you know, all of you probably have dumb competitors in your area that are always undercutting you and they probably frustrate you. I'd actually be happy about that. I'd be like, yep, you know what? I hope you guys go cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, because all that'll do is they will get to maximum capacity and they won't be able to take on any more clients because they don't have the funds. They can't hire people. They can't buy tools. They can't outsource. They can't do anything. And so they're going to quickly paint themselves into a corner and not be able to grow. And they're not going to be able to get the better clients too, because the better clients are not going to tolerate cheap services, because when you're cheap and you're not making money, then you're cheap, right? And so when somebody comes to you and they're unhappy with the response time or the support and the services that they're getting because there's no staff to help support and be proactive, and there's no account management and there's no customer service, you know, what's the excuse? Well, what do you expect? It's cheap. And so the really good customers aren't going to hang around, even if they decide to use them for a little bit because they are cheaper. They're not going to stay there because they're going to find out really fast, quick, and in a hurry that this company can't support them. So you got to be profitable. You got to be scalable. And so how you package things, one of the things we'll talk about is you don't want a custom program for every single person because it's hard to scale. If you get salespeople in your organization, you got to have some standardization of what you sell. So that way you can onboard clients properly. Your salespeople can sell it properly. You can get pricing locked in. So you don't want to, it's got to be profitable. It has to be scalable and it has to be competitive. And being competitive is not necessarily just being cheap. You got to have the right services and support baked in. We're going to talk a lot about this, but your service offering, you want to have these three things, and you can price yourself out of the market, right? So if you just arbitrarily get on, like I said, I know some experts in our industry and they say, oh, you got to charge $300 a seat. And if you don't, you're a loser and you suck at selling managed services and you ought to just go die somewhere because you're a complete failure in life if you can't charge $300 a seat. Well, there are times when you can charge $300 a seat and it is appropriate, but it has to be to the right type of client and you got to have the right service offering. If you just arbitrarily go out there and just raise your prices to $300 a seat and you don't have anything to back that up, meaning you're not selling the right services, the right package, you can't explain the value, you're selling to the wrong type of prospect, you're going to price yourself out of the market. So it's got to be profitable, it's got to be scalable, and it's got to be competitive, those three things, right?